in this strange reality, which we're caught between two worlds, between two paradigms. And the bridge between, or the door between these two paradigms is what is now called the disclosure event.
Recently in Washington, D.C., a press conference was held in conjunction with an international event, the X Conference, where a panel of eminent scientists and researchers broke the silence and spoke out and called for a full international disclosure and an end to the truth embargo relative to UFOs and extraterrestrials.
If I was an in-the-know person, high up in government or finance, and I knew about the extraterrestrial issue, and I knew about sequestered technology, and I knew what it could do when it was released, my position would be this. Let's keep that technology under wraps as long as possible, while we sell as much of the rest of the oil as we can for as much as possible. And then we'll take that money, and we'll use that to own the extraterrestrial technology, right? The point is, there's always people in the know and out of the know. Sometimes it's about stuff, and you're in or you're out. But there are some things you can't have the in the know and out of the know.
Basically, what we're calling on today is for the government of the United States to take the issue of extraterrestrial life, where it has been stuck in conflict and for the last 60 years, and take it out of the military intelligence agencies and put it into the Department of Education and the scientific departments where it belongs. Take it out of the threat scenario agencies where it is funded as a potential threat, and put it into the opportunity agencies where it is funded as a matter of education and advancement of knowledge for mutual benefit.
There is an overwhelming mass of proven, real government documents that have been released largely through the Freedom of Information Act that show decades of, for example, airspace violations, very sensitive places by objects doing what appear to be the impossible. We have these documents from the 1940s, we have them from the 1950s, we have them from the 1960s, 70s, 80s, and beyond. So these airspace violations continue. They are provocative, they are at times seemingly confrontational. You have pilots who have been charged with going up to get these things, and they have described them at times saying, yes, it appears to be a metallic disc-shaped, there it goes.
I began on this topic by trying to do reverse engineering on gravity control devices in 1968, but now I'm officially looking at leaked question documents. And some of the documents tell an amazing story. One of the leaked documents started with FDR, and FDR had set up, through Vannevar Bush, a committee called the Non-Terrestrial Science and Engineering Committee. These were guys, after the recovery of a crashed flying saucer in 1942, who were given the parts and told to figure out how they work. They came back to FDR in 1944 and asked for money. And he said, no, we got to win the war first, beat the Nazis. And then in 1947, it was Vannevar Bush who went to President Truman, who didn't know about all this, and said, by the way, we have these craft, we could do some reverse engineering in order to improve our country, to improve our culture, to improve our standard of living. And that was when the money started to flow.
July 2002, right here in the Washington, D.C. area, there was yet again a airspace jet chase by two F-16 jet interceptors, which were chasing a bluish object right outside D.C.
My opinion right now is the person who's going to wait for hard evidence is going to be left behind when the deluge comes.
Exopolitics offers a bridge out of the permanent warfare state, the permanent warfare economy, out of the permanent warfare industry, into transforming the permanent warfare industry into a cooperative, peaceful, space-age society integrating with universal society.
So I began to look outside of the kind of conventional sphere. I began to explore theories for what it is that really is driving international politics. And so then I came up with this area of an undisclosed extraterrestrial presence that is kept from the general public. So that really did help me understand what was going on and what is driving international politics.
What's important is the structural blinders and the structural belief patterns and the structural paradigms. If the exopolitics model can come in and establish itself as the dominant paradigm, such that structurally within academia, the Earth is no longer flat, it is now round. Intelligent life no longer ends at the geostationary orbit. The universe is now highly populated. It's that sort of sea change that we need to unleash the huge public investment and private explosion of creativity and cooperation to turn our spaceship around to be able to survive the environmental pressures that are coming now, which have been the result of the embargo that we've been under.
Are we, the people of Earth, on the verge of technological destruction? Has our use and testing of nuclear weapons already triggered an interdimensional countdown that is now moving us as a planet towards some kind of interstellar intervention?
Even though there's clearly no evidence, I want to emphasize this, that these extraterrestrial civilizations are hostile towards us, I think they're very worried about our hostility. I always turn this on its head, because most of these sort of documentaries are always like alien invasion and all this stuff. No. The issue is that, if they were hostile, we would know it by now. It's clear to me that what's going on is that they're very concerned that at the time that humanity reached the ability to go into space, early space exploration, 50s, we also had already developed weapons of mass destruction and thermonuclear and hydrogen bombs and stuff. And that the coincidence of that, the coming together of those two things, put a big red flag over Earth. And so if you look at the databases from the 50s, 60s, 70s on forward, not only in the United States, but in Great Britain, in the Soviet Union, China, that wherever we had space, aerospace, and nuclear facilities, there were a lot of these so-called UFOs being seen.
These groups that are interested in us, at least seem to show some benevolence, I think would probably step in and keep us from blowing the hell out of ourselves if it push come to shove.
The onset of the whole UFO phenomena beginning about 1946, 47, and I don't think it's coincidence that coincided with our development of nuclear weapons. And I think that out in the universe, they were horrified. They said, oh my God, the kids have found the matches. Well, they don't want us to destroy ourselves, and they don't want us to destroy this planet. And yet they're prohibited from directly intervening in our affairs and in our evolution. So I think that we've got crop circles and animal mutilations and abductions and sightings and increasing sightings and all like that, so that it's not directly impacting on us. And yet over this conditioning period, we are coming to understand that we're not the only ones in the universe. And I think they're trying to kind of boost us up the evolutionary ladder so that we can grow to be full-class members of the intergalactic community instead of destroying ourselves through our petty bickering wars and nuclear holocaust.
Like the dawning of a new day, the internet is quickly sweeping away the darkness. The truth will not be stopped.
We're now seeing this wall of censorship cracking apart in the United States. Just recently, we had a major TV network special, and I found it absolutely amazing because Peter Jennings of ABC just very matter-of-factly told a national audience that the Robinson panel of the 50s and the Operation Blue Book, Project Blue Book of the 60s were not really scientific-based investigations. They were just public relations efforts to try to get people not to be thinking about UFOs. So in other words, all you folks out there who are old enough to have seen all the newspaper reports on the Robinson panel and hear what Blue Book said,